Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of On Point, Idealease Expertise. I'm Scott McKenna, your host for our regular series of conversations featuring Idealease's leaders and experts in all topics and areas of focus that are of interest to you, like safety and compliance. Today, I'm joined by Dave Helge, Vice President of Maintenance and Safety. Dave, it's always great to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Scott.
Absolutely. So like any discussion these days, I think the obvious place to start is with the pandemic and how that affected everything within the realm of safety and compliance.
Yeah, that's true. It as it evolved, it impacted us greatly, right? From both a customer standpoint and our locations, right? It's interesting. None of our locations actually permanently shut down. We had some reduced hours for a while, just because we didn't have the people available. And our OE, Navistar, ironically, was the only OE throughout the pandemic that never closed. The PDCs, the parts delivery, nothing shut down, which was big advantage for us.
Absolutely.
So, and then as far as the safety and compliance, we all of our in-person safety seminars, obviously we had to cancel. That was the first time in 20 years, Scott.
Wow.
We started those safety seminars back in 2000. And so that was hard, especially for me. That was kind of my baby, and we had to shut that down. And so we all had to adapt to different ways of communication. Yeah,
absolutely. So if we talk about service, Dave, and the technology that's going into trucks today, these aren't just purely mechanical machines anymore, right? There's a lot of technology and advances that are going into every new generation of trucks. So can you talk to us a little bit about the technology that are in the trucks today and how that's beneficial from a safety perspective, and what does that mean for our technicians?
Yeah, sure. So the technology that we're seeing being put into the trucks today is what we call driver-assisted safety, or DAS. Okay, and there's a lot of those. There's the Bendix Wingman Fusion, which is an accident mitigation system, and then you've got lane warning departure technologies to pull that truck back over when it's getting out of its lane. And so we're seeing all of these technologies. Air disc brakes is another one that we're putting into these trucks today. You're seeing the OEs come out with this as standard equipment. So it's a higher level of technology for our technicians to work on, but the emphasis is really from society, because we're killing 5,000 people a year in commercial motor vehicle accidents, and this technology can save lives. And with these technologies in a truck today, the overall accident frequency reduction is about 40%, Scott. So, it doesn't totally prevent all accidents when the technology's there. No, but it reduces severity in a lot of instances. Where the automatic braking takes over, and we don't end up with a fatality, but we may end up with an injury or just a physical damage accident, but we're not seeing that fatality loss.
That's a significant amount of reduction, which I'm sure anyone who is in the road-going public could certainly appreciate and see the benefit from. But if I'm a veteran driver who's been in the industry for some time, and now, I feel maybe a little bit that not necessarily my freedom is taken away, but my ability to do my job is being more governed now by technological advances. What does that mean for me if I've been around for a long time?
Yeah. So with these technologies, the acceptance is challenging.
There's got to be reluctance.
There is, because as we take a look at the driver population, the average age of a driver today is 53 years old. Scott, I can remember the first time I used my dad's car. Okay, I borrowed my dad's car, and the first thing he told me, Dave, if any light comes on in this dash, you pull my car over on the side of the road and you shut it off. And then you're going to have to walk to find help. But do not run my car with that light on. So we have an older generation of drivers that when lights come on in the dash, that's negative to them.
Absolutely.
But with the technologies in the truck, not only the accident mitigation, but the emission systems, all that, that dash sometimes lights up like a Christmas tree. And a lot of it is positive. It's good. Some of it is coaching. It's not that there's any problem with the truck. It's just that it's asking the driver to take a different action. And the drivers, especially the senior, more experienced drivers, perceive that as a problem. And honestly, in our breakdown service, IdealNet, we get calls every day about a light being on in the dash, and our service coordinators have to say, okay, tell me what light that is. That's a Hest lamp. All that's saying is the exhaust is really hot. Just keep going down the road. The truck's doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's going through an active regen, right?
So it's all kind of, a lot of it is FYI stuff. It's just letting the driver know the state of the truck, the state of the components and different systems, and that what they need to do maybe when they stop next time, or that they can keep going, etc. And it comes down to, I'm assuming, training the driver, and what does that mean, and what should that focus be on?
Yeah, that's true. We've got to train these drivers before they get into these units with the accident mitigation, lane warning departure, all those technologies. Otherwise, we take a very positive technology and turn it into a negative. Okay, we need the driver's acceptance. Those technologies are going to reduce accident frequency, but it has to have the buy-in of the driver. Okay. The other thing is, as we look into the future, when we start talking about these technologies, is that they're laying the foundation for autonomous vehicles sometime into the future. Because now the accident mitigation, specifically the Bendix system, Bendix is a foundation brake company, okay? And the early editions or generations of the Bendix Wingman were just purely applying the brakes. But now they've purchased a steering gear company, and so now they're interacting the steering with the foundation brakes to provide more higher level of technology controlling the vehicle.
Which makes sense. So what you're looking to do ultimately with training is taking something that seems like a negative and really selling it for the positive attributes that it has, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that driver needs to understand exactly how that system works and operates. It's using a radar, it's using a camera. The system is so smart, it's reading signs on the side of the road, okay? It's telling him whether he's going over that posted speed limit on that sign. So they really need to understand how the system works. In fact, like I said, they're reading signs. The system will read the sign. It'll take away the accelerator. It'll feel like the pedal goes dead if he's a certain number of miles per hour or kilometers per hour over that posted limit. Scott, by the way, one more item I wanted to discuss about specifically the Bendix Wingman system is that Bendix has provided us with that training that is OE specific. So when we're training our locations or providing that training to the driver, it's there. It's the same truck that they operate. So it's not confusing to the driver being trained on a different OE and then getting into our vehicle. It's OE specific. And all that training, by the way, we have over 20 modules on our LMS, the Learning Management System, available for our locations, not only train the drivers, but the customers, and then obviously the technicians need to know how these systems work and how to repair the systems when there's issues.
Yeah, I think that's important that you bring up the OE specific training, because I think that probably gives a level of comfort to the driver, whoever's learning, because it is specific to exactly what they're going to see when they're behind the wheel.
Absolutely. All the knobs, the lights on the dash, everything is exactly like they were just received in their training.
No, that's fantastic.
Yep.
So let's talk about the picture of training overall. And specifically, before we sat down here today, you and I talked about changes that are coming to entry-level driver training. So let's talk a little bit about that, what the expectations are going to be, how the regulations are changing, et cetera.
Yeah, that entry-level driver training piece has been a subject that has been discussed for the last 20 years in the industry. There's outside focus groups that take a look at our industry pretty at a fine level, and scrutinize our industry, right? And you got to be careful when you start talking about those, because some of those folks have lost loved ones in accidents and with commercial motor vehicles. But these groups have pushed and challenged the FMCSA to enhance and widen out that entry-level driver training regulation. Today, all it is basically 3 or 4 items that you have to review with the driver if they've got a CDL less than 1 year. But what we're going to see happen here in February, Scott, February the 7th specifically, is that if it's a driver who does not have a current CDL, or a driver with a CDL that wants to upgrade from a B to an A, or add like a hazmat endorsement or a school bus endorsement, they're going to have to now attend specific training, which is both in classroom and skills training, before they can even apply for that CDL, or they can apply for that upgrade to their CDL, or apply for the endorsement. And that's going to impact not only our customer base, of course, but it's also going to impact our locations, because we have salespersons, we have technicians that all have CDL licenses, and it's going to impact our folks as well.
I can imagine. And I would imagine your safety bulletins, which you should sign up for if you haven't already, will be full of that information as it comes out and is made more specific, I suppose, going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. We've touched on it a couple times actually already in the bulletin, and as we get closer, we'll remind our customers and our locations absolutely how this is going to impact them.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be pretty significant for everybody.
Yes, it will.
Absolutely. So if you have any questions about safety and or compliance, please reach out to Dave. And if you haven't already, like I recommend you do, sign up for his great regular safety bulletin by heading to www.idealease.com/safety-compliance/safety-bulletins. Thanks for taking the time with me to chat today, Dave. I appreciate it as always, and thank you all for watching. I'm Scott McKenna. This has been On Point Idealease Expertise. I'll see you next time.